to what we call today Mexican, or rather indigenous people. This land belongs to them. So they can't be taking something that belongs to them. They can't be taking from something that belongs to them. Right? So the way black people are tricked into believing that they're taking things, right? Or that everyone else is taking from us and hate us too. They in on the scheme. Is because black people, right? Even though we're oppressed and these people are oppressed too, people who run this government put a certain people in the position to be oppressed and still oppressed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So I want to get into y'all questions. I want to hear more about what y'all want to ask me. How about that?
You're smart young people now. You've been learning about environmental racism. Did you ask the brother about that? Anybody? There's a beautiful deep take on environmental racism that our black writers could speak on. Anybody? Come on now.
Any questions? Y'all can feel free to ask anything. Anything. Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about environmental racism?
I think that environmental racism, right? Now, environmental racism is like, it's a biological, I would have to explain through war language. The language of war. Because it is. I'm not going to cloak it for you. I'm not going to tell you it's anything other than that. Fight for liberation and oppression is a war. And this is an aspect of war. Biological war. You remember something called anthrax? Countries all in the news and say, oh, everybody be scared, it's going to kill us all. Right? So rather than, that was used to use fear in order to control people. Right? So they don't tell us that they put us geographically right where all these chemicals are so we can inherit cancer, amongst other cancerous type diseases. Right? We have a comrade who's actually my age who's dying of cancer, fighting cancer.
Any more questions?
One last question for Scar before we have to close up. I want to ask one.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that you spoke beautiful knowledge, and I wanted to specifically hear Black Writer's take on the Fukushima, which is one of the things we are going to talk about tomorrow. You guys need to know. But as far as the nuclear poisoning of our communities, how it happens in small doses, but just what you all say on that.
I would say this. The people around it, I can diagnose the issue, I can give you a solution to it. And I think further we should start organizing our communities to create things like the garden, create clean energy, ways of building clean energy. I think we should organize communal efforts within our community, collectivize food pots. I don't know, what's going on in Fukushima is very closely related to what's going on in Detroit. All of these things are intertwined. Resources are being cut slowly but surely by the people, and more chemicals are being put into our community in order to kill us off. We're being slowly exterminated, you know. And I think that one thing to do about it is to organize resources that we the people control. Snatch the means of production. We need to produce things ourselves. We're too dependent on the country. Like if they cut off the lights, that's over. They cut off the water, that's over. So we have to create ways of communally organizing to gather these resources ourselves.
I got a question. What do you think about, in our community, a lot of people buy into what they sell to us, the whole thing about, oh, you gotta have Nikes to be, better than someone, or you gotta have certain brands, and actually some of our people will buy into that, but they don't know, where that stuff is made. Why, do you say that you buy into that stuff, destroying our community?
Consumerism. So I would say this, like, if you want to be more like a rapper, do you want to be like Huey Newton or Assata Shakur or Harriet Tubman, who we all know about, right? Not from rapping, but from fighting for their people, more so than this guy on TV. Your priorities are twisted. Because this guy on TV, he doesn't even pay for those clothes. It's called endorsements, right? How this works is they give the rapper, instead of having them pay for clothes, they know the rapper famous and he's gonna be on TV and they gonna sell more clothes. And they know if the rapper sell the clothes, they gonna sell more. So they be like, we gonna give you this. And that means that person's walking around being a walking billboard. And we usually chew it up.
And a lot of the clothes you guys even wearing, the Nikes, actually are made by kids the same age as you are in China. For like, we pay like, let's say $100 for the shoes that we got, and and they pay Chinese kids to make those shoes like what, 25 cents?
Yeah, 25 cents an hour.
None at all. Some kids
Don't
are
buy into
kidnapped.
the hype, y'all people. You guys are fried. Don't buy into that nonsense. Your friends in school, just because you're not wearing the latest thing, make you feel less. Don't buy into that because they're ignorant.
I will say this, one last thing. Black Panther Party at one point said forget buying shoes from the state altogether. We know shoes are a necessity, right? So they opened up their own shoe business, factories. They made shoes from scratch and distributed not just to themselves, but to the community. So that's an idea. Controlling the means of production. Instead of consuming, let's produce something. That's the whole point. That's what revolution is about. In order to get the people, the revolution is about a fight. I'm just going to keep it real, which I'm not lie to you, because you're children. Because all of you can be victim of this fight at any day now. And that's the truth. And in this fight, in order to give the masses of everyday people, right? See, revolutionaries, we know that there's a fight going on. But the average everyday person, they too consumed with shoes, the bottle, rent, to even care about it. And the revolutionaries, if they fight it, I got you, sister. If they fight it by themselves, what ends up happening is the state comes and wipes them out. But with the power of the people behind them, they're unstoppable. And in order to get the power of the people behind them, you must control these resources that the people are consumed by. You want to get them to stop thinking about their rent and their everyday problems, and you supply for these and provide for these everyday problems in order to build up enough momentum to overthrow the beast.
What's up? Give it up to the people.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Thank y'all.
All right, we have all teams need to start building. So get, they're not all